We may have started the episode with that.
Shit.
Oh, gosh. I hope that's on there.
Leave it in.
Leave it in, baby. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 147 of the Alter Ego Podcast. I'm your host, Jack Austin. With me, as always, Mr. Ryan. How are you, buddy?
I'm so mad that my screen makes me look like shit, but I'm good, bro.
We're going to get Ryan a new camera. From the land of enchantment, Mr. Rhino. How are you, buddy?
I am doing very fantastic now. Very wonderful.
Good. And Nello, our spicy meatball, back with us.
What's going on?
How you doing, pal?
I'm fine. How are you, buddy?
Doing all right. Are
you living that dream, baby?
Another day.
There you go.
Oh, my goodness. So happy to be back. Whew. It hasn't been like a super interesting week, but there's a lot of cool stuff to talk about. Yeah. How's you guys' week's been? Good?
My week's been great.
Brutal weekend. The work was busy.
Woo! That's what I hear.
Spent way too much money this week.
Yeah.
You did?
Oh, yeah.
The only money I spent this week was on Diablo 4.
This is the best time of the year for weather in
Oh,
Wisconsin.
Xbox
because
just
it's
collected, right?
Low
It's
70s,
collected.
low humidity.
Nice.
Oh, it's hot as hell down here.
Let me tell
So,
you
yeah.
what, the heavens have opened up and left the sun at about 6 feet from the pavement here in Florida.
Shit, you ain't lying.
It is hotter than the devil's armpit, as I like to say out here. So good gracious. Anyway, here we are, episode 147, ready to talk about all things pop culture for you. By the way, wanted to send a quick shout out to our friends over at Watch This Tonight. It's another podcast hosted by my good friend Dan Benamore. I just did a episode with him talking about Marvel movies and kind of the state of Marvel. So go check him out and his podcast and all that jazz and tell him we sent you. In other news, DC Comics is bringing back the swimsuit special. And that's the kind of news week it's going to be.
Oh my gosh. What's a swimsuit special in comic book world?
I get to see Harley Quinn in a thong about
It's
it.
literally the superheroes in swimsuits.
Oh.
It's a mock of Sports Illustrated.
Okay.
Sex sells,
I
Gwen.
guess.
Sex sells. It's one of my favorite lines in any Ryan Reynolds movie. I don't know why this is a thing, but I tell you what, even you go to your local comic book store, there will be a section for scantily clad superheroes. There is a market for this.
Isn't that behind the beaded curtain?
It's not. It's not, but it makes me wish I had
Come
a beaded
back
curtain
here.
somewhere.
Oh man, that
Show you
sounds
the
so
good.
good.
Adults only XXX.
Like beaded curtains, don't you just feel excited to walk through it?
I don't know about you, but when you used to rent videos back in the days of renting videos, that room always felt like mystical. Because you could never go in there because we were kids, right?
This is where they put their P's to the V's. Mom, that guy's got a fist in him.
We used to have a room like that at the video store I went to, and I would always like sneak up right to the corner and act like I was reading a video on the shelf, and then I would sneak peeks at the covers because I would see a boob or a butt.
Like you always hope that somebody would walk into that room and just open that curtain just a little bit.
I would see a boob singular or a butt.
Yep.
Wow, that is just great. But yeah, they sell that kind of stuff, and I was just like, really, guys?
It was the pre-internet days, man.
Interesting. No, but that's all we got for DC. I wish there was more. Let me hear more from DC. I know Flash is coming up right around the corner.
They're saying it's the greatest cinematic.
They're trying to get literally everyone to. Oh, Stephen King says he saw the movie and he loves it. I care.
Couldn't give two piles of dog shit what the fuck Stephen King has to say about anything.
I don't either. I mean, I just okay. Thanks.
Then James Gunn said Ryan Reynolds is the next most iconic.
Oh, that
Deadpool.
That was very interesting. Go ahead. You sent us that story. Go ahead. Tell us about it.
James Gunn came out and said that Ryan Reynolds in Deadpool was probably one of the most iconic Marvel characters since Iron Man.
Not Marvel characters.
Superheroes, excuse me.
Superheroes, period.
That's right. He went Christopher Reeves. He went RDJ.
Which
he's not wrong.
Right now is to me the most iconic.
Right?
Number one.
I actually got a text from my mom today. She was like, I just heard the song Shoop, and the first thing I thought about was Deadpool.
There you go. I mean, they're James Gunn.
That's crazy.
But that's really interesting. And he's somebody that we bring up a lot, but we don't ever take into consideration when we talk about the future of Marvel, right?
Well,
Like
he is
we
the
don't
future of
talk
Marvel.
about him. It's like, yeah, Deadpool's coming out. It's gonna be cool. Deadpool 3. There's the I didn't mean to get into Marvel right now, but we kind of brought it up. So hey, the horses are out of the barn. They're saying that the events of Deadpool 3, which has started filming right now in London,
They're going to kick off.
are going to kick off Kang Dynasty
and the Fantastic Four and everything. Everything's supposed to.
That tells me that he's going to be a major player in those Avengers movies. That's the first thing that I thought of when I read that.
A, thank God.
Amen. Not
B,
mine.
he's gotta be, because right now he's the star power.
Yep.
Yeah, he really is.
I mean,
who's your biggest star outside of him? Benedict Cumberbatch,
or
Tom
Holland or Chris Hemsworth. Those are the only contenders.
And Chris Hemsworth is a question mark right now. We don't even know when or if he's going to be back.
And I love Spider-Man singular movies, like solo movies. I love them, but they just don't feel Marvel. It just feels like Spider-Man is just that its own world and it's perfect. You get what I mean?
I don't know about like that's perfect, but it being its own world, I definitely feel.
You get what I mean? Like when I think Spider-Man, I get he was in Civil War and with the Avengers and Endgame, but it's just street level to me. It's just different. I don't know.
And that's good. And that's a good thing. That's a great thing to have that street level, especially having Spider-Man. But Deadpool, I have a feeling he's going to be everywhere. I always like to talk about levels, talk about supernatural, talk about street level, talk about intergalactic. Somehow they're going to get Deadpool involved in all of it.
I have another DC thing to bring up. That is, well, I don't know how credible it is.
Well, then be careful.
Right. I'm not saying it's credible, but the internet has said that Bradley Cooper was offered the role of Lex Luthor. And we had a conversation about this in the group chat as to whether we thought he could even pull it off, if we enjoyed the idea.
We being
me,
Nello.
Yeah.
Had the conversation in the chat. I don't recall that. I don't care at this point. I don't. When it gets to the casting thing, let me know when they confirm somebody.
True.
That's exactly where I'm at. I'm tired of the rumors. It's the same thing with the Fantastic Four. I was tired of hearing, this woman is Sue Storm. This woman, I don't care.
I really don't care.
Give me the lineup when they write it down on a piece of paper.
I don't even care about it after that. I want to see a good Fantastic Four movie because things that have hardly ever happened.
I don't think that's something that we've gotten yet, and that's
never happened.
No disrespect to the previous iterations. There have been some excellent, really Fantastic Four-y moments that have happened in some of those movies, but in terms of a good start to finish Fantastic Four, goddamn, I can't wait to watch that again. I haven't gotten it yet.
They've only really nailed two characters in the Fantastic Four ever in all their castings. And that's the Human Torch and Chris Evans.
Which is Chris Evans more so than Johnny Storm, because that's Chris Evans.
And the big guy who was the first thing.
Michael Chiklis.
Michael Chiklis.
Michael Chiklis, yeah. He was okay as a thing.
Way better than what we're talking about now.
I appreciated Michael Chiklis because it's Michael Chiklis, but as a thing, I
do like Jessica Alba as well. I think she as Sue Storm was kind of underutilized. She was kind of like the superpowered girlfriend that they were both competing for, and I hate that. I hate that. Don't take a A-tier Marvel royalty character and make her just the girl.
A high school drama project.
Don't want that.
The dude who played Mr. Fantastic could have been really good, but the way they wrote him was dog shit.
Agreed.
Awful.
Agreed.
He could have been a great Mr. Fantastic.
Him was awful. Dr. Doom
was
McMahon.
God.
Listen, I'm sure he's great in other stuff, but I don't want to get on this soapbox about Dr. Doom right now. He's somebody that has been critically underutilized and poorly portrayed. You have not seen a good Dr. Doom. I promise you.
I don't think you would ever pick up a comic book again if you watched the remake from like 2016 or 2017.
I have no interest.
Bro.
The way they ruined Dr. Doom in that movie, people should have been locked up in federal prison.
It's Green Lantern. It's Green Lantern-ish. It's Green Lantern.
I didn't really Green Lantern. I didn't know enough about it when I watched it to care. But anyway, let's get into movies and TV. Speaking of movies, this is one that's near and dear to my heart. Kind of interested. You know what I mean? Like I'm one of those where I've been broken up, but I'm ready to be hurt again. Hellboy, the Crooked Man, has wrapped filming.
We've had a lot of discussions about this off this microphone, and you have some very interesting takes on this. Just whole Like,
I love Hellboy.
you know,
When
There
we
was some interesting comments that were made about it, though.
did this show, we did a top 10 favorite heroes, and Hellboy has continued to be in my top 10.
always has been.
I love
since
that
I've known you.
character. I'm happy to see that he's still getting some love. I did not, contrary to popular belief, hate the Ron Perlman iterations of Hellboy. I love them. They're great.
Yeah.
I love Ron Perlman. I love Guillermo del Toro. However,
Those are my favorite.
I felt David Harbour's version was more Hellboy. And I thought that was better for me in my taste. I like that version better than Ron Perlman's. This one, the Crooked Man, they're saying is the most comic accurate Hellboy that we've ever gotten. So what I think that means is you're going to get a very slow-paced detective style Hellboy. You're not going to get, I don't think, a lot of action because Hellboy's always been about investigating the paranormal.
So we're going to get a more of a noir.
So it's going to be more like Batman that just came out.
And that's okay because it doesn't need to be action packed. If you set up the storyline good, if it's well written, if it's got peaks and valleys, if it's got that suspense element to it, it doesn't need to have all of the flashy explosions and punching people with the giant fists and all that shit.
Hey, you speak for yourself. Don't you tell me how to live my life. I like action. I like people being punched by the big fist.
That's why I'm surprised that you didn't like did you like the second Hellboy? We've never really gotten into it with David Harbour.
I've never seen that one.
Whoo!
I haven't seen that take yet. I mean, I've been meaning to, just haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah,
because I actually like the other two Hellboys.
I like Ron Perlman again.
No, I like Ron Perlman too, but I like Hellboy as a character more than any of the actors that have portrayed him. So if I'm looking at something that I want to see, it's definitely the David Harbour.
So as the guy who likes the Hellboy the most out of us four, are you excited to see this new iteration or take, or are you just hopeful that it actually like grasps the audience?
At this point, I'm just happy I'm still getting Hellboy.
Okay.
I wish David Harbour would not be taken away from the franchise and them still use him. I don't know who the new guy is that they've cast for him, but he looks like he could be the part for sure. And you know what's funny? Sometimes these levels of projects that aren't like these multi-mega million-dollar stars, and this is like, okay, this is kind of a prove-it movie, and you get people that are passionate about it. This is where you get the best versions of these characters sometimes. This is where you get a movie like this, and they go, okay, you clearly know how to do this. Here's $1 billion, and Sigourney Weaver, make us another one.
So it's like so you think this movie or is like a prove-it deal, like it's in sports when they're like, you're up on contract year, make it happen, and then we'll talk about the future.
It could be. I think this one has potential. We'll see.
Jack Kesey was actually in Deadpool too.
What?
Who was he? He was one of the prisoners, right?
He was Black Tom.
Okay, yeah, he was Black Tom, and he was like, "Hey, I'm White Wade Wilson."
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
It's funny how we keep going to Deadpool again. James Gunn wasn't wrong.
6 degrees.
Well, James Gunn also put Deadpool 1 and 2 as one of the most iconic superhero movies ever.
One was much better than 2. I mean, 2 was still pretty good, but I think 1 was much better than 2.
Why do you say that?
Just out of personal opinion, I enjoyed 1 better than 2.
I think
okay, so why, in your personal opinion, was it better?
I thought the storyline was much more enjoyable. I was into the movie more than I was in the second one. The second one was like, all right, that was pretty cool, and it's like, oh, okay, all right. All right, that was pretty cool.
You like the origin story aspect?
Yeah, from that particular storyline, yes. Just because we had never gotten Deadpool before, so I did enjoy the origins more than the second. I'm not saying the second one was bad by any means. It was a good movie. But I think if you were to consider them iconic, I would consider the first one iconic. I don't know if I consider the second one iconic.
Francis.
The only reason I'm considering the second one iconic too is because even though it is a faux version of it, you got the X-Force, you got a lot more mutant involvement in that one than you did in the first one.
But they did the Juggernaut wrong.
No, they did not.
How did they do the Juggernaut wrong?
And they made him a little bit like the whole fight scene at the school. And
how did they do him wrong? Because he lost to Colossus?
No, not because he lost. Just the way that I don't know. I felt a little underwhelmed. He's the Juggernaut. I don't know. It was just that whole interaction with the kid. I don't like the kid at all. I think the kid
I thought the kid was the roughest part of Deadpool too, but whatever.
Yeah,
Those kids those actors out of New Zealand come around, Hollywood seems to lose their mind.
They actually that movie did Juggernaut properly. If you want a bad Juggernaut, look at X-Men 3. That was a dog shit Juggernaut.
Is there anything good in X-Men 3?
Yeah, Wolverine
than Jean Grey.
The Juggernaut in Deadpool, did they say how he got his powers?
No,
they never go into it.
He's the established Juggernaut at that point.
Yeah,
it's not an origin for him. He is the Juggernaut already. And dude, he rips Deadpool in half.
Like he was a drumstick.
And rips him in half and leaves him there. What is more Juggernaut than that?
I'm talking about like the final scene. He's hanging upside. I don't know.
Okay, I'll put the same pressure I put on Rhino. Give me a reason why that's not Juggernaut.
I don't ever see the Juggernaut hanging upside down with his butt showing.
You don't like that he got embarrassed?
Yeah, he's the fuck.
Well, that's dead. They Deadpooled Juggernaut. I mean, had he made that debut in an X-Men movie, it's probably a lot more darker than that. But it's a Deadpool movie.
I guess that's
so. Of course, he had to lose in a weird way.
Yep. Maybe I just didn't like the way that he lost. I don't know.
But at the same time, he probably didn't really lose. He didn't lose the war. He lost that battle.
Yeah, he lost the battle.
Interesting. Okay. Well,
and no TJ Miller in Deadpool 3 because they don't like each other.
Whatever.
They don't need TJ Miller.
Right. He's not somebody that's like Weasel's not integral to the story. He was literally comic relief. He didn't even help out Deadpool when Deadpool needed to shit his pants.
He was shirt cocking though. He came up with that.
But Pete's coming back. We know that.
At first, I thought it was who's the Indian guy in the cab? What's his name?
Dopinder.
Yeah, that's who I thought was not like they didn't get along. I was like, no, we need that guy in the next Deadpool.
Yeah, you need Dopinder. Well, don't need him, but he's.
Oh, I need him.
I think we'll get him back at least for a cameo.
Yeah, he's not going to be integral to the story. Don't expect to get. Oh, we got Blind Al coming back too. But you know what they don't have coming back? The Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel.
Oh no, she died.
Shutting down after 18 months. Blind Al did not die, and she is coming back for the next one.
She has to.
Blind, she's the woman.
Blind lady.
She died in real life.
No, she didn't. No.
No, she didn't die in real life, dude.
They just announced it a couple days ago that she's coming back. So unless they found another actress who looks just like her. Anybody surprised by the Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel shutting down?
I'm pissed that I never got to do it.
This is not like that I experience where you get to make your own lightsaber.
I don't care, but I wanted to like experience the whole like Death Star. I don't know. I just want to experience that.
Yeah, if you want a second mortgage the restaurant, sure.
It's only 5 G's. Who cares? You live once. You only live
no
once.
one ever.
That's why I haven't done it. I'm just saying.
I'm
also
definitely that's not one that I really.
I mean, I see where you're coming from. It would have been a really, really cool experience to do because it gives you the opportunity to live life like you were on a Galactic Star Cruiser, but at the same time, way too expensive, bro. Your key demographic is the half percentile of America.
Yeah.
You have to, if you're going to do something like that, you have to make it affordable to at least 10% of America.
But think of all the power and all the actors and all the stuff. That's why it's got to be so expensive. If you ask me.
It doesn't.
You got stormtroopers and bounty hunters and all that crap all over the place,
brother. They got that already. They've already got that.
I would have loved to have seen what their profit margin would have been on that particular cruise because it had to have been outrageous.
It's no, it's not a cruise. It's the Star Cruiser Hotel.
I'm sorry, the Star Cruiser Hotel. I wish I could see what those numbers were because there's no way you could have justified that price.
If that was a cruise, it might have been more successful.
I wonder how many days that hotel room or that hotel was empty with nobody in it, and they're just still running the same.
Probably plenty.
Because $5,000 is a lot for the people for the demographic who actually give a crap about Star Wars.
Yeah, you're talking to a very small group of people. Yeah. So how about John Wick? John Wick 4 has now made over $1 billion in the box office.
Wow, doesn't surprise me though.
Not at all.
That's
the franchise
too. The franchise total.
John Wick 4 pushed the entire franchise over the $1 billion mark.
It makes sense. It's Keanu Reeves. It's John Wick. Good for them. Congratulations.
It's a good franchise too. I mean, if you look at the all-time action franchises of movies that compare to that, not like a sci-fi or anything like that, like in the Die Hard series and John Wick, like series like that, it's up there in the all-time greats.
Easily.
All-time greats. Yeah, I'd say so with 4 installments and what all they've done.
All-time greats is a stretch. Is it a good watch? Absolutely.
I'm talking about movies that compare to it. I'm not talking about all-time great just franchises, period. I'm talking about movies that compare to it, like a Die Hard, something along those lines.
That probably nobody was calling Die Hard iconic when it came out. They probably called it a good action movie. Give things time. I'm sure in 10 years, John Wick will be looked back as one of the biggest action franchises to have ever existed.
Yeah.
And maybe, maybe the guy who stole the slippers from the Wizard of Oz might be able to make it to the Galactic Star Cruiser. Why are you stealing the slippers from the Wizard of Oz, guy?
What do you do? Do you like Ocean's 11 those things? Like, how do you steal those?
Why are you stealing them?
And where?
Maybe he was just a really big fan.
Shoot, man, selling things on eBay, dog.
Who the hell's gonna buy him?
You'd be surprised.
You would be surprised.
Come on, there's slippers from the Wizard of Oz. It's not even like a lightsaber or something cool.
Yeah, dude, you want to talk about iconic? The Wizard of Oz is one of the most iconic movies of all time.
This real quick.
Let's
You think lightsabers are real?
Okay, so let's talk about this for a second. If we're gonna get off the rails, then we're gonna go.
Let the man talk.
I believe that there could be some sort of laser weapons, whether it's a lightsaber, so to speak.
God.
No, but it could happen. It's out there.
Wow, because if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure those things are just like empty and they add the light later. If I'm not mistaken.
It's got a stick on it.
Yeah, that allows you to make contact.
Okay,
it's essentially what the stunt guys use in the movie. That's what they're selling now. They light up.
Because I thought I heard something when they were talking about there's nothing actually there. They have to do the whole thing.
No, because when they do the movements, they have to make contact. Otherwise, it'll look fake.
You can see the training sessions that they do with those in the filming of them. You can see the videos. They're like white sticks with little beads on them, so they can do the CGI.
It's okay.
During
yeah, that's what it is. But there's no actual light to them. That's what I.
No, there's no. It's literally just a stick. Yeah.
May I ask a question?
I wish you would.
So we understand Star Wars, Star Trek, whatever the Starship thing is going down. If they do an Avengers Tower type area like that, would it be more popular?
I don't care if
you understand what I'm saying.
I think it's more popular? No, I think Star Wars is much more popular than Marvel. Even if you did an Avengers Tower, Star Wars has been established. They've been around. They've been successful for a lot longer than Marvel has. Do I think it's going to be successful? No, because of the price point.
Okay.
The price is going to turn. If it doesn't work for Star Wars, what's it going to work for?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just too much.
That's true.
Arnold Schwarzenegger says the Terminator series is not done. And to that I say, who cares?
Oh, I thought you were going to say I'll be back.
I'm actually all right with that. If they're not regurgitating Arnold still like they did in that movie like 5 years ago where he looked like shit.
Well, he looked like an older man.
I know, but he's supposed to be a robot. He's supposed to be a killing machine, and what is he going to hit you with? His AARP card?
He does look a lot older, but that was the whole point of the Terminator monster of that model of machine was that they put living tissue on top of the robotic exoskeleton. So the living tissue getting older, he could still be that robot. But I get what you're saying. That
I'm okay with the franchise living on if they come up with new material, different Terminators, different people to play them, different story. Like if they got rid of Sarah Connor and that particular storyline and they went in a different direction,
let it go.
Cool. Yeah, cool.
How many times can John Connor escape?
Yeah.
Like seriously.
Well, he died in the first movie, so.
What?
John
Connor doesn't die in the first movie.
Oh, never mind. I'm thinking of his dad.
His dad dies and he gets Sarah Connor pregnant.
All right.
Yeah, I'm thinking the first the dad. That's my
beat. You think John knew he was sending his dad back in time?
I don't know. It's a
Protect my mom, but don't you dare fall in love with her.
Don't you touch her.
He's just sitting there like as soon as the guy walks through the gate, he's like, he had sex with my mom.
I know he did.
How do you know? Because I'm here. That is how I know, my man. I told him to not do one thing. And that was the first thing he did.
Hey, you Sarah Connor? Yeah, let me clap those cheeks.
Yeah, you are Sarah Connor, aren't you?
That
Damn.
is a good ending, though. That's one of the better endings in Terminator 1.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if he said like, "Hey, I know your son." Oh, wait, hold on, never mind.
I know. Hey, I know our son. What?
I'm 22. I don't have any kids.
Jesus.
What is going on today?
What a wild speculation. So speaking of Arnold, he got hired to a new job. He's not the governor. He's not acting. He's been hired by the streaming giant Netflix to be, and I quote, head of action.
What the fuck?
Bro, see, this is where I have a problem. Arnold Schwarzenegger ain't been the head of action since like 1999.
And
Come on, he wasn't
he
in
wasn't,
Expendables.
hold on. He wasn't the head of action then either. He was just an iconic star.
Oh, come on, have you seen him in Commando?
Yes.
My man's got a what? Terminator 2, got
Commando.
Predator, and then I
Eraser.
might give you Eraser.
True Lies.
Collateral Damage was a good movie.
Kindergarten Cop.
Kindergarten Cop's amazing.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare besmirch.
Who
Not
is
a tumor.
It's not a tumor. Who's your daddy and what does he do?
Boys have penises and girls have vaginas.
That's a good movie.
Yeah.
Did daddy do that to you? Come here.
Hey, Last Action Hero, don't you dare.
Oh, I love Last
That's
Action
a
Hero,
great
too.
one. Okay,
Yeah.
we're not Predator. We're not talking about Arnold not being iconic as a star,
but it's
like,
been a while.
he's doing other people's projects.
So I guess my question is this: what's his role at Netflix? Is this just going to be some PR stunt where they go with advertising, or is he actually going to have some sort of insight to Netflix produced projects?
I was going
assume-
to hire a bunch of bodybuilders.
I think he's going to have an insight into Netflix produced projects. I think that's the way this is going to go, and I don't see why that's a good idea.
But why not though? He is an iconic action.
because he's also just an actor. Like if you would have told me that you were going to get somebody like
Wait a minute.
what's his
But-
face? The guy who like directed John Wick,
Yeah.
John Wicks, or the guy who did like Hard Boiled and all those guys, like the John.
How is it any different though than like when a career baseball player eventually becomes a manager?
Because one of them actually did the stuff on the field. They swung the bat, they threw the ball.
Arnold
Then
I-
they did that. Arnold was just in frame saying the lines.
But he was a part of that production for several decades. He's going to know what's going on.
I'm sure he's gonna have an idea of what's going on, but I would say we're gonna have a movie executive come on and be the head of action. We have Michael Bay and Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm gonna go with Michael Bay if I'm looking for explosions and the way movies work and how they need to be shot stylistically, if that's a word.
I don't know. After that them Transformer movies, I might go with Arnold.
I'm not
saying no.
Yeah, no, I get that's what I was trying to say too. Like
I'm not disagreeing with you there, but I think the biggest aspect of Netflix movies are the cast. You never hear of big time directors really doing Netflix movies. You don't hear of big time producers doing Netflix movies. A lot of the budget goes towards the cast, and that's about it.
Didn't Zack Snyder do movies for Netflix?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did Army of the Dead.
Yeah, he's made multiples.
Yeah,
Two of them, right?
he's all right. I don't hate his movies at all.
Yeah. So
I mean, the Snyder cut of the of the Justice League I could live without, but he's
I'm
not
not gonna
bad-
lie,
I loved it.
yeah, that actually made me like the movie more.
I'm
loved it
just
so
saying,
much.
like, okay, whatever. We're not getting on Zack Snyder. We like Zack. He's a big fan of the show. We love you, Zack.
But wouldn't it have been better to do to get like the guy from the old guard or like Hemsworth who's doing Extraction for them?
No,
like something
Hemsworth
like
is the
that.
same thing.
Yeah, no, you guys are understanding. Like you're literally having an
Why-
actor try to be
Yeah.
a executive over what's good.
The
action.
only time
That's-
here's one that I'll give you. I'll go with Sylvester Stallone. You want to pick somebody who does it? Stallone has directed movies. He's written movies. He wrote Rocky. He's done every aspect of
All
it.
the
If you want to take Stallone and put him in that job, it makes a lot more sense to me than Arnold. Because Arnold,
I'm not saying there isn't somebody better out there. That's not the point that I'm making. But what I'm saying is Arnold's not going to come in and do an awful job. If you have these lower budget projects, I mean, you're not going to get a Michael Bay to come in and do all of your Netflix projects. You're not probably going to get Sylvester Stallone to come in and do all your Netflix projects. So if there was somebody out there that could do it, Arnold could do it. I'm not saying there isn't somebody better. I'm just saying I don't think he's going to do an awful job.
I don't think he's going to do
I think he's going to do a better job than Michael
either.
Bay.
If I'm looking at iconic things that Arnold has done, he's got one-liners. He's got big muscles,
Take
two of
these. Call me in
big
the morning.
guns, blowing people up. I mean, are we trying to go back to 80s action? Because if that's the thing, let me know.
Yeah,
But action now is kind of evolved, right?
Big time. Big time.
And that's kind of what I'm getting at. It's like after you have like John Wick movies or the other like Extraction, which is another awesome movie.
That's a
I
great
The old
movie.
guard.
Movie,
Shit like
very
that.
good
the old
movie.
guard, I can't wait for that second one to come out. It's kind of hard to be like, get to the chopper and like have him play, I don't know, direct those kind of movies. I don't see him having the eye for it. You know what I mean?
think it's like
especially
Rhino
with Netflix too, who's already in serious trouble. Like,
Yeah, that's 100% they are.
And here's the thing that Arnold's always said, right? They interview him about somebody else in action, like John Cena, and he goes, he's the next Terminator. Or when The Rock was doing the rundown and he comes in and goes, have fun, he's good, he's big, he could be the next Terminator. It's like you seem to be singularly focused
That's
in
what
terms
I
of the
said.
public eye. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Was he gonna hire a bunch of bodybuilders in every movie and like, oh, this Mr. Atlas is now gonna be Mr. Nanny? No, I don't.
the winner of Mr. Universe is
Mr.
going to
Nanny
be
is
in the
another
kindergarten
good
cop
movie.
too.
You know what? Hey, if he were able to take The Rock away from, major motion pictures and he did Netflix exclusives, then he's the greatest director of all time.
I mean, he
But
did Twins.
here's the
That
thing,
was a
though.
good
No
movie.
one really cares. I mean, people started to get tired of The Rock. I'm sure. I know.
That's the point. That's the point that I was making. Like,
Oh,
get him out of regular movies. I don't want to see him
regular
anymore.
movies, but as a business, Netflix can't have that. You know what I mean? People already don't want to watch Netflix. Give me a reason to watch.
I think it's a PR stunt, like Rhino said. I think it's just to like, hey, look at this shiny toy we have. We're doing great. You know what
You guys all like Arnold, right? We hired him.
exactly.
Yeah, I could see it being that more than almost anything.
All right, well, let's take our first break of the day. Then we're going to get into some Marvel news and some gaming news. So we will see you on the other end of this commercial break. We're back. During the break, we were talking a little bit about villains for Marvel, because that's what we're getting into right now. So let's take a few seconds to talk about villains, shall we? This was one of the comments or subjects that was brought up earlier when I was doing the watch this tonight. Is the reason he said that he walked away from Marvel movies was because it was always seemed like it was going to a specific formula, right? Like there's always good guy A, bad guy A. They come to a head, they fight. Good guy A wins, move along.
Yep.
And to an extent, he's absolutely right. Now, I cited Ant-Man 2. I cited Shang-Chi. There have been movements to get away from that sort of falling into that formula.
But it's still kind of that formula. And it's funny because I actually had this discussion with my uncle the other day about Infinity War, like how it was a great movie. And he's like, he hated it the way it ended. But I was like, if that movie would have ended right there, that would have been absolutely dope.
Yeah.
I would have loved it.
I think Kang has an absolute chance to break that mold too, going into this next phase, which will be Jonathan Majors. Pretty sure. I haven't
Has to be.
seen anything at this point. So the reason Nello's so high on Jonathan Majors is he finally watched the movie again.
I did.
Yesterday.
I finally watched the movie last night, and the Ant-Man without Kang is basically a piece of shit.
Wow.
Sorry.
I love Ant-Man as a character, but this is one of those things that Marvel needs to cash in on, is iconic big time villains. Think of some of the greatest action movies of all time. You always remember who the villain is, right?
Yeah.
Iconic villains make iconic movies.
GoldenEye.
Hans Gruber,
Hans Gruber. That's the first thing that came to mind when he said that.
right? Voldemort for Harry Potter. No, that's not an action movie, but you
Same
think
concept.
of
Same concept.
you
Darth
think of,
Vader.
Darth
Darth-
Vader. Yeah.
okay,
The
so
most
hold on.
iconic.
I posted a reel on Audio Jack, and it was about Darth Vader, saying that he was the most iconic villain of all time, and I agree. I think he is
100%.
iconic. And everybody was saying, no, it's Palpatine.
What?
I know. I just wanted to touch on that for just a second. Palpatine never at any time was as scary or iconic as a villain as Darth Vader. Is he evil? Absolutely.
Mastermind for sure.
Possibly Mastermind for sure. Is he one of the worst people in the galaxy? Without a question. But is he the most iconic villain in movie history?
No.
No.
And I can tell you this from my point of view of a person who did not watch Star Wars. I never heard of Palpatine until I actually watched it. And even then, I don't even really remember him until you guys bring him up. But I do remember Darth Vader.
What's the one thing that you could find 100 people that have literally never watched a second of any kind of Star Wars content in their entire life? I guarantee you, every single one of those 100 people know this line.
No,
I am your father.
Yeah,
Luke, I am your father.
Luke,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, every one of them do, and there's a reason for that because how iconic Darth Vader truly is.
Yeah, I mean, and that goes back into our Marvel concepts, right? Some of the best Marvel movies of all time have all had iconic villains.
Thanos.
Yeah.
Ultron.
Loki.
Definitely Loki. I mean,
Shang-Chi's father.
People like Killmonger, the Mandarin.
Mandarin is not iconic. I'm sorry.
I think there's
Shang-Chi's father.
Oh no, I thought you were talking about Iron Man 3's Mandarin.
Oh no,
not the make-believe Mandarin. There's a formula that Marvel can play with Kang too that no other villain they've had so far has been able to execute, and that's all of the variants of Kang. Because even if one dies, Kang is still out there.
There's so many.
Even if 100 die, Kang is still out there, and he's still going to be a villain, and it'll be in a completely different way. Like we know that Kang is supposed to show up in Loki season 2. He's going to be a completely different villain. He's going to be a completely different villain than what Kang was in Ant-Man.
There has to be an origin Kang that they're looking for because that end credit scene in Ant-Man where Loki's like, "This is him." They have to be looking for like the original Kang, the one that creates the time jumping.
You're talking about Victor Timely.
Yeah,
that's who they're looking for, and I believe that's who that variant is. But Victor Timely is not He Who Remains. That's who they're looking for. Is the guy to go back and restore that prime timeline and be that guy. So I agree, man. And this is the beautiful thing is like you always ever get to see one side of a villain. You only get to see one iteration, one makeup of him. And Jonathan Majors is going to get to play hundreds of different versions of Kang. Yep. And the Avengers, the Defenders, the Guardians, all of them are going to get to face a different variant of him.
Has this been the problem with DC? All the villains we've mentioned have all been Marvel. No one's mentioned the DC movie villain where you're like,
Joker?
Well,
Joker?
We're talking, I think he's talking DCU.
I'm talking
Joker.
DCU.
Yeah, okay. So I was about to say because to me, Heath Ledger's Joker is the most iconic villain in comics.
The Christopher Nolan movies aren't part of DC.
Right, correct.
No, the problem with the DCU is that we didn't get far enough into that cinematic universe to get an iconic villain because everything started being dog shit and it got shut down.
We only got a Superman movie before we got a Superman movie, a Wonder Woman movie, and an Aquaman movie, and then in we go.
We got a Justice League movie,
and then we got Justice League.
We technically got 2 Wonder Womans,
right?
And they cut out Darkseid out of the final cut, like that would have been their opportunity to have that iconic villain for the DCU, and they cut him out of that final cut entirely. It's what are you doing?
No, I think I might agree with your boy. That whole formula of, as I'm thinking about it now,
maybe
and they're talking about Kang. Kang's really big thing is just putting the timeline back together.
Yeah,
not necessarily.
So that version of Kang, He Who Remains, his whole thing is about the timeline. Kang from Quantumania is about order through power. That's what he's about. He's about no, everything's gonna be fine. You just need to let me kill this universe, or this reality, this reality, and we'll be fine. And he's willing to do that because he sees things a certain way. I think he's a more purpose-driven Thanos.
Is General Zod the only good villain DCU has had?
I don't think General Zod's a good
villain. No,
I don't like. Okay. Sorry.
Well, I mean, to answer his question, it's probably the best villain that the DCU did.
Has there been anything like again the Joker, Heath Ledger?
I don't know. Steppenwolf wasn't bad to me.
He was just forgettable, man.
Yeah, he wasn't. There was nothing about him that was like.
He was an errand boy. That's all he did.
Right. That's all he did.
Everything he did was for Darkseid. Just kind of annoying.
And we never really saw Darkseid.
I don't know, man. I think we need some more iconic villains like Kang. And I think if Kang keeps going and he's that overarching villain, then you'll start to see some speed pick up in the Marvel universe.
But I honestly kind of agree with your boy though, because you're probably not going to have any of that loss. You're not going to have anything. Like if he's like Thanos, he'll probably undo it and people don't get hurt. I mean, although that does actually happen in the comic book, but just the snap.
Yeah, but we're gonna get so many different versions of Kang though.
Yeah, but I mean, you're still not going to have anybody. Kang's never going to ever win. You know what I'm saying? You're never going to have it walk into a thing where like
the only way
Black
Kang
Panther,
loses is
Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, all of them gone. You're not going to have.
Do you want a villain to win though?
I absolutely do, because you don't always have to have the good guy win. Like
here, let me ask this: do you want him to win?
Like with his point, that's my thing. Is why watch it if I already know how it's going to end? They're going to do this, blah, 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 get together, Avengers assemble, we beat the bad guy. Why am I watching that? But when Thanos, you should have aimed for the head, boom, and everybody, half the people disappear. You're like, oh shit! The way you walked out of that movie theater, you were like, bro, the fuck just happened?
Actually, what I would love to see is a Ultron wins timeline.
Yeah, something like that.
Now, Ultron winning and having the Ultron bots everywhere. That is something I would be 1,000 times in for, and that's what was trying to make the Justice League iconic. Was this is a scenario where Superman lost it, and we live in this utopian future where nothing is able to exist without Superman's say so.
That's another thing I'm looking forward to.
I mean, yeah, you don't want to walk into the story and go, all right, well, we're gonna win. I just want to see how.
Yeah, see, I hate that. One of my favorite movies ever is Friday Night Lights. One of the best sports movies ever. Because they try as hard as they do, and they lose at the end. They come up short.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler alert. Sorry, but it's no last.
Is there any other superhero movie where the villain wins the first half of the movie? Because Thanos does win the.
But that's the thing. Thanos didn't even win the first half of that movie.
If you count the two-parters, first half.
I mean, he was around picking up the stones, doing what he had to do, and then he makes his debut, and boom,
he gets killed.
Got you.
Well, he doesn't get killed. He gets an axe in the chest.
Yeah.
Infinity War's ending is a lot like Empire Strikes Back. It ends as a tragedy because it ends with the villain winning. I mean, at the end of Empire Strikes Back, Darth Vader wins. That's what made that movie so iconic. Arguably the greatest movie in the entire Star Wars franchise, because Darth Vader wins at the end.
So let's talk
about this. Let's talk about this. That's something that's coming out soon. Secret Invasion. This is a story where you really do have a good chance that the villains are going to win.
That's a spicy meatball.
And
trailer, teaser, whatever they call it.
These things. Here's one thing that this is me speculating, not confirmed. We see a Skrull stretch his arms like he's a Super Skrull.
Super Skrull.
And Super Skrull gets his powers from the Fantastic Four. Where's are we changing Super Skrull to his origin stories, to how he gets his abilities?
Or it could be a lead up to the Fantastic Four. You know, you have to have that, and then
he could have gotten a hold of Kamala Khan because she's established now.
It just opens the door.
Oh, but she didn't get her powers the way she has her powers. Her powers come from her bangle. Remember?
From the bangle, yeah. That's how could I forget?
Yeah, that's kind of one of the things I can't stand about.
I don't think the bangle sticks around.
It better not.
It has to.
No, it doesn't.
They made it such a freaking focal point in that whole show.
That's why the show was trash.
Whole show was about that stupid thing that she found in a box.
That's why it was trash.
So I want to actually go back to that question you had about Super Skrull, because there's one thing that I think it's possible this series does tie into a Fantastic Four MCU debut. Whew. Because the Skrulls are coming to Earth because they're fleeing something, right?
Well, they're looking for a new home, right?
What if they're fleeing Galactus?
Oh my God, that's a good one. I would love for that to be the reason. And then what? At the end, we get what? Silver Surfer?
Silver Surfer, or maybe we get like a Reed Richards cameo, something along those lines. Anything. But what if that's what the Kree or the Skrulls are running from? They're running from Galactus.
What's the big Celestial's name? The red one.
Oh my God. The one from
it's not Tiamat. Is it?
Yeah, is it Tiamat? I always forget his goddamn name
Yellow's
too.
got the Google fingers going.
Arcturus is a red giant. No, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Hold on.
What part of the internet did you just go to? Arcturus is the red giant.
Arishem the judge.
Arishem,
How
yeah.
about this?
I was actually talking about a real star. the first
Arishem
time.
comes back to judge the planet.
Isn't that the dead thing in
And
this?
who comes up and kills Arishem but Galactus?
That's that thing that's been floating or that's been in the
No,
middle.
Arishem's the red one. The one that's floating in the ocean never got to life. He died before he.
Tiamat.
Okay.
Yeah.
They look
So-
the same. They look the same. They have the 6 eyes or whatever the hell that thing is.
I don't know. I think that's a good lead in,
But then he eats Earth like a gumdrop.
right? So we can't introduce him like that.
That's why it doesn't make sense to me. I don't see that.
I would much rather there just be a little bit of a hint towards the Fantastic Four. I don't want him in the show because this show is supposed to focus on Nick Fury.
Don't
It's supposed to
take away
focus
from
on all of him. So don't give me like Reed Richards all of a sudden showing up, or don't give me Galactus in the background of Earth. Just like at the end, be like, yeah, we were running from a monster who was trying to devour our world, and use that word specifically, devour.
I don't think
He's
I don't
not
want to
a
see the
monster,
Skrulls
though.
defeated in this series. I don't.
You're not
You're
going
not going to see him
all of the
defeated.
Scrolls. You're going to see a faction of the Scrolls,
I
the
w-
evil Scrolls,
I
whatever you want
want
to call
to
them.
see. I want to see my big thing that I want from Secret Invasion, because they say this is going to up the ante from Winter Soldier.
Which I'm
This is going to be
excited
more
about.
of the espionage spy stuff. I want them to find all those superheroes that have been replaced by Skrulls.
Have we seen a Scroll
100%.
in the Avengers since the
100%.
beginning, and we didn't know that it was there, that they were there?
Yeah. Yeah.
My bet, number one bet, Colonel James Rhodes.
What about Maria Hill?
Well, there's a reason why Colonel Rhodes is in this movie. So yeah. I don't think God, I don't know, man. That's tough.
How do you think it's Rhodey?
Why do I think it's Rhodey?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's in the
Because
show.
He's
Well,
been
okay,
in
thank
high
you.
level military.
Uh-huh.
He's somebody who's been involved at every level. He was
like
the first
basically
person.
came back from the dead.
He also stole the War Machine armor from Tony to bring it to the government, which could have other Skrulls infiltrated in it. He's trying to look for super powered weapons to help the Skrull, and he's trying to be a figure point in government, which is what all the Skrulls are doing. They're infiltrating every level. Rhodey's also now looks like he's a politician. Maybe he's got a crew of people around him. And the question asked to him in the trailer is, how well do you know your guard? How well do you know the people around you?
Here's another one too that I would not be shocked by. Nick Fury himself.
No, that doesn't make sense.
It does make
How
sense.
does that not make
He
sense?
shows himself as a Skrull in one of the Spider-Man movies.
I know, but he's in
I
space.
mean, what if
with-
but what if he's been on space this whole time? Because the series takes place during the blip.
Right.
But
That
we
would-
know that Fury was blipped out.
And we know that Talos has been standing in as Fury,
Yeah, so
standing in as Maria Hill.
that's got to be it. I mean, Fury had to have been a Skrull at one point.
Mm.
Like the scene at the end of Infinity War where he gets blipped out when he's paging Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
could this
That
be
could have been Talos.
could this be one of those times where, like we were talking about, the villains could win? Even doesn't matter how many Skrulls you kill. How do you really know that they're all?
No,
gone?
I want them to win. I want this to keep going. I want this to be part of a movie where they have to help.
Yeah, that
everybody
would be awesome.
and have
that'd be
Captain
awesome.
America be at the forefront of that bad mamma jamma.
See, that doesn't interest me at all. I can care less about. So, I don't know, something about it.
God
Just,
bless this.
hey man,
that
there's
says
an
that.
imposter who played a superhero. Okay,
It's the invasion of the body snatchers comes to Marvel.
Have you
Yeah,
seen that
essentially.
trailer though?
I
You can't tell me it doesn't look good.
I haven't seen any trailers, bro.
Well,
Do you
that's
are
why
you
you're not
new
hyped for it.
here?
Go look at
No,
the trailer.
I'm not hyped for anything that's come out of the MCU except for Spider-Man, as I said before.
Oh, no Guardians.
I'm gonna
3,
tag
huh?
you in that trailer. You're gonna watch it
Guardians
tonight.
is
It's a
alright,
minute of your
but-
life.
Like I said, it was more Guardians.
All right. So Chiwetel Ejiofor, I don't know how to say his name. I know I messed that up. I'm sorry. He played Baron Mordo in the Doctor Strange movies.
Yep,
Is
I know what you're
officially
talking about.
joined the cast of Venom 3. Loki will release on October 6th of this year. you guys hear about that? Loki, October 6th. That's going to be cool.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
I'm excited, but I'm all in on Secret Invasion right now.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to be able to finish Secret Invasion before Loki.
Oh, I'll finish that way before that.
Loki for me was one that it drug for me. I did not care for Loki.
You never cease to amaze me.
I love you so much, but sometimes I can't stand you.
That's cool. You have different likes, man. Different things blow up your skirt.
That's
and,
true.
You know what I mean?
That's
like
true.
that doesn't do it for me.
Let's get into gaming, huh? Let's finish out strong with some
you
gaming.
said something about Venom casting.
That doesn't sound like me. PlayStation Showcase coming on May 24th. What do we expect to see?
PlayStation exclusives that have nothing to do with Xbox, and I don't give a shit about them.
Big facts.
I will be watching, but that's
I'm gonna watch it too because I'm sure they're gonna talk about Spider-Man 2. That Wolverine project they're working on is probably gonna be something. I hope that's not an exclusive.
It is.
It is an exclusive.
Are you sure?
Wolverine is exclusive to PS5.
Yeah,
they'll never learn.
How though?
Here's one.
It is.
Speaking of Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard, Rhino, I'm gonna let you add the meat to these potatoes. China has approved Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard. Why is that important, Rhino?
So from what I understand, and I have no knowledge in the background of global business and economics, but from what I understand, there's an entire panel of countries that have to approve this deal, with the risk of if there's a country that does not approve it, they could sanction the company and not allow that product to be sold in their country. So I don't like I said, I don't understand how that works entirely. I know that the board has to have, I don't know if it's a unanimous or if it's like a 90%, 95% approval rating to do the merger. I don't know how that works, but from what I understand, that's the reason behind it.
Well, other countries that you had in that post was Japan and Europe were two that had approved it already. Those are three very big in terms of gaming. Huge demographics to go ahead and say, yeah, that's fine with us. I mean, so for that, I think it's just the US and South America.
So it's the total panel, I believe, was 37 different entities.
Well, that said 37 had done it already.
Yeah, excuse me, 37 had approved. So China joined the 37 others that included the EU and Japan. Has America officially approved that yet?
No, they're still suing.
I didn't think so.
They're still trying to figure out how to help. You know what's so funny is the biggest competitor is PlayStation, and Japan approved the merger.
I thought they were going to create a board with 12 different, like they're going to allow the merger, but there has to be a board with 12 people that have to approve anything and everything they do, or something along those lines.
That's almost every major company, though.
To me, that's
but dumb. It has to be like a board, like you said, of different people from different countries, and they all have to like whatever, because like this is their merger is basically monopolizing gaming.
No, it's not.
It's not.
Not at all.
No, it is not.
$1 billion industry that they've just taken a big chunk of.
A big chunk. That's not a monopoly.
It's fucking really big chunk.
Nintendo Switch and PlayStation are still massive competitors.
Yeah, still Nintendo.
And not to mention, if they were monopolizing it, Microsoft would not have given Sony the opportunity to sign a 10-year fucking contract to continue having that game on their platform. That is the exact opposite of a monopoly.
And it's not just that game.
But Microsoft then gets everything Blizzard has done as well. That whole Blizzard catalog, even things that were under development and then got scrapped. That's a lot of shit that they're getting.
Get over it. Does that mean like?
Listen, you're just talking about a Wolverine. That's an exclusive. Spider-Man. That's an exclusive to PlayStation.
God of War.
God of War. Who gives
what is Blizzard supposed to do? Is Blizzard supposed to divide up every title that they create and give it to different companies? I mean, it's one company.
That's what happens.
Not to mention, Blizzard has been its own entity, and PlayStation has gotten what from Blizzard? Overwatch, Diablo 2 and 3.
And what else? It so far.
What else?
And Overwatch isn't an exclusive.
Right.
Neither is Diablo, right?
No.
Isn't EA attached to Blizzard?
No.
Are you sure?
EA is its own entity.
Yes. EA is its own entity.
Activision Blizzard. Activision is the bro dudes that hooked up with Blizzard, who are the nerds.
But these are still going to be titles. There's still going to be releases that hit every platform. Microsoft would be the biggest dipshits on planet Earth if they bought Activision Blizzard and said, all right, we're only releasing these titles on our console. That would be the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, especially when it's a $70 billion freaking move.
Right. Let's get rid of half our audience and half our revenue.
Yeah. PlayStation's the only one that make everything exclusive like that.
Well, what's not exclusive is Mortal Kombat 1. Got a trailer for that.
Interested about that. I'm interested.
And I don't like that my autocorrect always puts a C instead of a K for combat. Come on, man. Get with the times. It's essentially a reboot, right?
Yeah.
The trailer has shown a lot of iconic characters, sans Sonya Blade, Jax, and Johnny Cage, or like Noob Saibot or any of those like Reptile, but you got to see a great look at Scorpion and Sub-Zero, and there are minor changes to big characters.
Yeah, who cares?
Liu Kang is now the Guardian of the Realm. It looks like he's the Raiden of the world. It says Scorpion and Sub-Zero are kind of like brothers. Like they're
teaming up.
They're teaming up, which this game looks like it's going to have a tag team mode, doesn't it? Everything they showed in the trailer was pairs. Kung Lao and Liu Kang, Melina and...
Oh, so they're going to make it like Marvel versus Capcom where you can choose like two superheroes at a time?
I think they're going to do a tag team
Was it
mode
Melina
for sure.
and Jade?
Jade. No, not Jade.
No, not Jade.
Katana?
Purple. Katana, thank you.
Katana's blue.
Yes.
Katana's blue. So it's Katana
Melina
and Melina.
is blue, purple.
Yeah.
Melina, whatever.
Say Jade.
It was. I mean, it was kind of needed, to be honest with you. That franchise was really starting to get rusty. The last 3 or 4 releases from them have kind of been carbon copies of each other. It's almost like
last
Madden,
game
where it's the
wasn't
same
that bad.
shit every year.
Yeah.
The last game wasn't that bad, though.
They've already leaked that Jean-Claude Van Damme is going to be a playable skin for Johnny Cage.
Johnny Cage. Yeah.
He's not going to be Johnny Cage, but he'll be a playable skin for him.
Carl Urban's going to be Johnny Cage in the movie.
Yeah, that's cool.
The only reason why the last game wasn't bad is because they had all of the DLCs that brought in all of those iconic characters. Otherwise,
Predator, Alien, Leatherface,
Terminator.
Rambo, Terminator.
Yeah, which is why I don't understand what's the point of going backwards.
Let's talk about. What do you mean?
Reboot it. Give it a different platform.
Bring it back to the old school where it was you had all this before. Now you were taking away.
We're getting it. We're getting a MK1 remake.
That's my point. Why give a whole bunch and then take it away to give me the same Mortal Kombat?
Mortal Kombat 1 was one of the most iconic arcade games out there.
The heart of Mortal Kombat is PvP battling, right? It's your favorite fighters in the ring, brutally killing each other. That's what you want.
Yeah.
Story isn't really that important. Nobody's going to be like, let's play the campaign. They're going to say, let me get in here and I'm going to get Sub-Zero and I'm going to turn you into an ice cube and then throw you down in the acid pit.
110%. That's the versus mode. That's what that was when you back in the first one.
Which is what
just
this
played
is
your
meant
way
to
through the tower to get to freaking Goro to have him fucking spam the little cheat move and piss you off. You know what I mean?
As a kid, though, right? As a kid, let's go back to when we were kids. You'd go to the arcade, you and your friend. One of the first games you play, Mortal Kombat, because you're battling with your friend next to you. You play a couple games and you're done with the game. So after you kicked each other's butts a few times, you're done with the game. That's the problem with any of these fighters is once you've beaten at least once, it's all the same thing. It's just different buttons.
You're just fighting, yeah.
Yeah.
It's bold of him to assume that I had money to go to an arcade when I was
know
a kid.
you've gone to an arcade.
Not I,
when
said
you
the
were
cat.
a kid.
No.
I didn't go to arcades to play games I
home,
had at home. I went to arcades to win tickets to get cheap
Exactly. I had Mortal Kombat at home, and that's all we used to do. We
Yeah.
run a few rounds playing against kids in the neighborhood, and then we put the shit down and walked away.
There you
So
go. That's
so
what I'm saying.
we mentioned DLC characters being a big part. The first DLC group has already been leaked for Mortal Kombat.
What is it?
The first one is probably my favorite one, Peacemaker.
Oh, that's
John
dope.
Cena.
Oh, I saw this.
Peacemaker is one. Omni-Man from Incredible, what is it? Invincible.
Invincible, yeah.
Incredible.
Homelander.
Last one is Homelander from The Boys.
That's crazy. As close as they can get to Superman as possible.
I mean,
You know what's funny?
well,
Like,
that's the same company that like the one that did DC, the DC fighter,
Injustice.
Injustice. That's the
yeah.
that's
same
what I was gonna
creators.
say. If this was an Injustice, that makes more sense to me. This being in Mortal Kombat, those characters don't really make a lot of sense to me.
Peacemaker, Homelander.
It's just for money, dude. That's
Yeah.
the only reason. Is just for money.
But they're all brutal. If you think about it, they all just kill people. Homelander just kills people. Omni-Man just kills people.
Yeah, but they're super.
Peacemaker just kills people. Yeah, but they're like more of like protagonist / antagonist. Like they have both.
I
You get
want
what
John
I mean?
Cena's Peacemaker to make up fake facts about everyone if he gets a fatality. You know, like he talks about Aquaman
See,
having sex
like-
with fish.
Why isn't Vigilante on that list with a chainsaw? Bro?
Oh my God, I
Let's
was
go.
thinking the same thing.
Let's go.
That'd be so good. But he's not as he's the recommendable Peacemaker. Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I don't know. Here's what I want to talk about. Let's talk about Tears of the Kingdom. Apparently the community has created a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater in Tears of the Kingdom. There's apparently a lot of customization mods that you can do in this game.
I have been watching videos of this last weekend, and I cannot wait till I buy it next week, or actually this Friday, and I'm going ham on this game. I'm going to lose so many hours playing this game.
So we're gonna get.
I can tell you,
we're gonna get a full review.
Oh yeah,
from Ryan.
Oh,
How long
yeah.
do you think it'll take before you give us that full review of Tears of the Kingdom?
We'll get it Tuesday.
No.
We'll get a brief. We'll get a first
Yeah.
impressions.
You're gonna get a first impressions for sure, but from what
You're gonna average like 2 hours of sleep this weekend, aren't you?
probably.
It also hinted that in Tears of the Kingdom that Link and Zelda are finally actually in a relationship. Which finally, good for you, Link.
I don't care. I want Link to say
Been
just
saving
one
that
word.
girl's life. What do you want to
Just
say?
one word. I don't know. Just something.
Cheeks.
That Tony Hawk Pro Skater thing looked pretty dope though, like because apparently you can attach almost anything to your shield.
Yep.
So people are attaching the mine carts to their shield, and then they're grinding around these railings that they set up all over the place.
Yeah, you
Jack's
can
on fire today, brother.
make different things. I've seen them make like,
I saw them make like a troll.
bro. You can make. I don't know how to explain it, but you can make like almost like AT-ATs, like walking things that just kill enemies for you and just do all kinds of crazy that you. I've watched people build. I've watched them build like what is it? Hover bikes and stuff. Like it's just insane. Like I'm like, wow, they put a lot of thought into this.
If you don't beat that game in 94 minutes, don't even come back.
I want to play.
I want to see you break the speed run world record.
Yeah, no.
St. Pete Man beats Tears of the Kingdom in 37 minutes.
Say Pete Man and Alter
Vows
Ego
to not
podcast,
watch it
right?
again.
That was actually the record in the last one was like 33 minutes or something. I think it got it down to
Jesus.
even more.
God.
That's the fastest selling game ever. Zelda
Bro,
Tears of the
it's-
Kingdom.
10 million copies in like 2 days or something like that.
It's pretty dope.
It is definitely. I said this last week. It's game of the year. It's gonna win.
Oh,
Definitely, it's game of the year material. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like I love Diablo 4. I'm going to dedicate a lot
I'm
of
so
time
mad
to that
about
game. It doesn't even compare to what you can do in Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, in my opinion.
And what's crazy is I was holding out on this because I was like, I want to watch some of it because it looks like we're just going back to the same place almost, and you kind of are. But there's also an underground world, and then like an above ground world. So there's just so much stuff to do now. Even though I've done it, I don't know how many times and how many thousands of hours I have on the first one. I'm excited to go back to a world that I'm somewhat familiar with, and then
Yeah.
one that I have no idea about, and I can't wait.
Well, so you can like build literally anything as Zelda or as Link.
You get these things where you can like construct stuff, and I'll have to show you the YouTube video of it just like real quick, but you can get parts and build all kinds of different things, man.
Huh.
Like things that attack things. I've watched
It's like Minecraft level.
yeah,
building.
kind of thing where you can just like assemble something real quick and like go in and fight this thing, and you can have like a plane that shoots out blasts and just beams and kills the thing for you.
Wow.
Like it's crazy.
Is that going to take like ingenuity, or do you
Yeah,
need
it's
to
kind
like
of your thought process, what you and how you can manipulate and use the things that you're given.
huh.
I'm gonna make some weird shit.
I'm gonna
Exactly.
30-foot statue of Heather Locklear and Pac-Man, whatever you want. I love the
Yeah.
freaking Kurt Russell. Whatever you want, man.
What'd you make? I made a ball.
So can Link make geared hardware? The rugged yet stylish watches that are the perfect accessory for any man who's
I
always
thought
on
you
the go, whether it's to a board meeting or a bar fight. Made with high quality materials and backed up by a lifetime warranty, rest assured that your geared watch will be there when you need it most. Go to www.gearedhardware.com. Use promo code AlterEgo20 to get 20% off your order.
I'm pretty sure he finds that one in her chest.
Geared hardware, real hardware.
No bullshit.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us here at the Alter Ego podcast. I've been your host, Mr. Jack. Ryan, see you next week, buddy. Rhino, have fun. Go make some snow angels, even though it's not snowing. Nello, thank you for joining us.
No
We'll see you guys next week for episode 140.
Chet, where have you been? The show's almost over.
Check his hands.
Empty your pockets. I got buffalo nickels in there.
See you, everybody.
Hey.